What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Severe MMA. My name is Sean Sheehan, and today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Paul Hughes. Do you know, Paul, do you know what? I think you might be the biggest interview in Irish MMA at the moment, so it's absolutely a privilege to speak to you today, all the way over in America, from a freezing cold Ireland here. How are things?
Yes, brother. I can't complain. Life's good. You know, I like being in the sun, so it's good.
That's a good way to be, and a good way to prepare for the fight. And it's not too far away now. Obviously, we'll talk more about the fight in a while. But I have to ask you about the last 11 months. And I was looking on Sherdog, and it's exactly 11 months between your last fight and your upcoming fight. And it's been, I suppose, a whirlwind of an 11 months in Irish MMA, but for you yourself as well. I suppose overall, how would you describe the last 11 months for yourself? And, you know, it's been a great 11 months, I suppose, in a way, after becoming a champion and everyone talking about you being one of the best prospects in the world, but there hasn't been a lot of movement either. So from your point of view, what has it been like?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, saying it's a whirlwind. It really has been. It's been an interesting time. You know, a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but thankfully, mostly good, Sean. Because as long as I can train and get better, and I can see myself improving every week, like I do, then that's almost enough for me. You know, to keep going. So yeah, it's definitely been an interesting 11 months for sure.
So what is the situation? I suppose we all kind of want to know it, because when you won your last fight against Jordan Vucinic, put on one of the best performances an Irish MMA fighter's probably ever put on in a title fight, never mind just a regular fight. I suppose everyone expected you to kind of go to the UFC, you know, maybe have one more and then go to the UFC or whatever, but that fight never materialized. The move to the UFC never materialized. What were your thoughts directly after that fight? Was it UFC or nothing kind of directly after that fight?
Um, it wasn't that it was necessarily UFC or nothing. There were opportunities there that almost came to fruition that, you know, led us down this path of okay, maybe wait a little bit more, which is how the time sort of progressed then. I'll not get too into the specifics of it, but there was a couple of opportunities there that, you know, we had. Do you know what? I think there's enough time has passed. I can kind of get into more specifics. So I got offered a short notice fight for the March London card. I think it was a week or less than a week's notice to fight Laurent Murphy at featherweight. At the time, so the first quarter of the year, I was out injured, so there wasn't really much training. Unfortunately, I had an injury from the Jordan camp that, you know, it wasn't to be completely honest. I could say, oh, it really affected me in the Jordan camp. It wasn't too bad, but it was after the Jordan camp it really got bad, and I needed time to rehab. So that didn't bother me at all, to be completely honest, Sean, because there was zero possibility of me stepping in the cage that night. So I haven't thought twice about it. There was another opportunity in the summertime in July when I was actually in the States here training. There was an opportunity had came up. We had accepted. We were all down for, but unfortunately, just the time scale was below 2 weeks, and we just couldn't get the correct visa processed in time. And that's just what it was. So we had good enough reason to believe that the opportunity and the shout would come for us. That's why we decided to hold on, um, to see if the opportunity came. You know, Paris was kind of our cutoff point, and when Paris happened, then that's when we then hit up Cage Warriors, which would have been probably over 2 months ago now, and said that we'd been available for the Dublin card. And the fight actually came about, funny enough. You know, it only came about, I think, last Thursday. We got offered. We told them we were available. Last Thursday we got offered it, and yeah, and then the fight got done. So here we are.
That's very interesting. I think you answered most of my questions there. I will just cut it off.
Yeah.
I feel like
You're welcome.
for myself, and obviously a lot of people think like, oh, what's next for Paul Hughes and all. That has obviously cleared a lot of it up, but it must have been so frustrating, you know, to listen to people even like myself, but to listen to fans as well saying, oh, Paul Hughes deserves this opportunity. But you had been given the opportunities. Obviously, it didn't work out. So in the back of your head, you kind of must have been thinking, you know, it will come. And for a lot of people, it's probably like, oh, will it ever come? But you know, what you said there, explains, I suppose, why you kept the positive mindset throughout.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't a case of just, okay, we're not interested, go have a fight. Because if that had been the case, it was simple, then I would go and have another fight, you know. On that, like there was other opportunities there that we turned down. Like the Ultimate Fighter were very, very keen to have me on. The producer personally emailed me and wanted to have me out ASAP. Um, and to be honest, that was first quarter of the year, and the injury I had at the time prevented me from doing that. Now, would I have done it or not? Truthfully, I can't answer that right now. Obviously, the McGregor effect, it's completely different. A normal Ultimate Fighter show wouldn't even be thought about. But of course, the McGregor effect, the fact that it was a lightweight and stuff, it definitely would have interested me. But I I don't know if I would have took that opportunity. And then obviously you have Contender Series. We decided to not go down that route because of the previous opportunities that I just told you about. So that's kind of how the year played out. But yeah, it's been an interesting one. It's been a whirlwind, as you mentioned, um, but a learning process. And as I said, as long as I can train, Sean, and I can get better every day, and that's what I've been doing. And my level, like, is insane. My level is absolutely ridiculous. And I've said publicly, and I said this. I was talking to PC earlier, like, about being top 10 in the world. Like I know for a fact that I'm top 10 in the world right now, and I'm just very excited now, and I'm very fucking happy that I now have a date here in 2 weeks' time, and it's unbelievably exciting. And all of this other stuff that's happened, it doesn't fucking matter anymore because I've got to focus for 2 weeks' time, and I'm fighting Jan, who's a fucking beast, and it's probably going to be my hardest fight to date. And that's just where I'm at. I'm in a fantastic mind frame right now. I'm focused, and yeah, it's good, Sean. It's good.
Was it mentally hard in the last 11 months? By the way you're speaking there, it seems like it was. Was it a thing you kind of struggled with mentally over the last, almost a year?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it has its ups and downs, and to take it all the way back, obviously, you had the fight with Jordan, couldn't have went any better, a lot, like everything was riding on that fight for me, like a lot, career wise, some personal things too leading up to it. It was like everything was riding on that fight, and it went how well it did, and it was such a high, and of course, with that, the expectation of the UFC, because if there's anybody fucking deserves a UFC contract, I got to be number one on the list there for that run in Cage Warriors and that performance against such a good guy. Um, so you had them emotions, and then the end of the year comes. It's like, okay, there's no contract there. There's kind of talks, but nothing solidified. Then it comes to the new year, the injury. Just as the game is, injuries happen, and it had me out for most of the first quarter. That's that's going to be the most trying times for fighters and for myself, is when you don't have that ability to improve every day, Sean. And that was probably maybe more some of the lower points, but when I rehab from that, and I can get back in the gym and I can train and I can see my level every single week just go like this, because this is everything. I don't do anything else, Sean. This is my entire focus. My life is everything is predicated towards this. So when I can train and get better, then that keeps me on the straight and narrow, And I have this deep confidence anyway, knowing where I will be. That kept me in the straight and narrow. So it did.
Just a couple more things on the UFC. There was obviously you said it there about the Dana White Contender Series. There was a couple of rumors obviously about that happening, and then like when those rumors happened, and so the rumors were basically that you got offered it and you didn't want to go that route. A lot of people automatically think then, oh, maybe the UFC, are going to look unfavorably on that or whatever it might be. Now, obviously, by what you said, they haven't. But was it true about the Dana White Contender Series? Were you offered that, and did you turn it down, wanting to go the other way?
Um, it's not that we were offered it. I think, to my understanding, this how we played it was just, look, when my management were speaking with the UFC, it was more of a case of, look, we're ready to go straight through here. Any opportunities that arise, we're the guy. That's how I play. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, here we fight this guy and this date. We never got to them talks. We just made the decision, myself and my team, we're all on the same board. And we decided that that maybe wasn't the best pathway for me. You know, if the opportunity was possibly there, that's the route we were going to go down. And unfortunately, it just didn't pay off for us this time. But that's fine. You know, I get an unbelievable opportunity here in 2 weeks' time to fight in my home country again, where I haven't fought in years now. You know, I have an opportunity to go out and have another spectacular night, another spectacular finish, build my stardom and my base even more in Ireland, in Dublin, where, of course, as we know, the UFC could most likely are coming there next year. So this is an unbelievable opportunity for me here. And yeah, I'm excited.
Well, just one last thing on all of this, and we'll move on to that fight and talk about the move to lightweight and other things as well. It felt like there was a weekly thing at one stage, and I was guilty of it as well, that we saw a featherweight fight, and maybe it wasn't the highest quality in the world, and it was like, these guys are in the UFC and Paul Hughes isn't. Or when Charrier gets signed, it's like, hold on, wait, didn't Paul Hughes beat him and he's in the UFC and Paul Hughes isn't? And there was many, I suppose, examples of that from me and other media members, but also the fans as well. Again, I suppose asking you a similar question a minute ago, it must have been great to see all of that and see all the praise and see all of that, but it must be just so frustrating to be like, well, yeah, I should be in there, sign me right now, but that opportunity just didn't come. But on the reaction, I suppose, and the support of the people, you must absolutely be delighted as someone who hasn't gotten to the UFC yet to have that much support already.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, mate. It's beautiful. It's heartwarming almost, you know, whenever you go on the Twitter, and it's not even like even the likes of yourself. Like, first of all, thank you so much. Look, you've always been in my corner. All the guys in Severe always are. And just the Irish MMA media in general their users are incredible, you know. And there'll be times where I'm going on the Twitter, and it's like people are sharing a post, and they're not even tagging me or saying, they're not purposely trying to like, oh, here, Paul, I'm supporting you. They're talking to somebody else, and they have my back, and they're just like, no, Paul's the man, he deserves to be there, he's done this, he's done that. It's like, to see that kind of stuff is amazing, you know. And it definitely helps through the harder times, you know. Sometimes, of course, bittersweet as well, but yeah, it's been cool for sure.
And I suppose the other question was about the first Irish card, why you weren't on that. But I think injury was the big part of that, and you've already, I suppose, kind of answered that. So to move on to the next Irish card, the first thing I want to ask about is 155. Why 155? Why isn't it a featherweight title fight in 2 weeks' time?
Multiple reasons, but see, to be honest, there's not really that much into it, Sean. It's just a case of, I'm a lot bigger now. I don't want to be cutting a lot of weight. It's going to limit me to, if I was saying it doing featherweight still, it would limit me to 2-3 max fights per year, because I'm just such a big guy for that weight class now. It's not out of the realm of possibility, maybe a couple of years down the line of doing something like that. But really, there's not that much thought into it, Sean. Originally, I wanted to go get the second belt on Cage Warriors. That was like, you know, that was my goal originally, because at the end of the day, featherweight, like, I've been there, done that. I had the belt 2 years ago now. You know, I beat everybody in the division, and it's not like there was a clear contender or two that's sitting there. It was like nobody really knew or cared, and it didn't interest me. Whereas lightweight does, for a magnitude of reasons. Number one, that of course I wanted to get the belt. Unfortunately, George Hardwick's a bitch, so that didn't happen. So I'm now fighting Jan Quay Higgins, who's, to be completely honest, a much harder fight than George. He's on a 5-fight finish streak. And another reason, and one of the main reasons as well, Sean, is activity, because it's something that's been so frustrating the last while with me. And it could potentially be part of the reason of not getting that UFC shout. That's frustrating to me. You know, I'm a fighter, and this is how we make money. And a big thing for me now is activity. To be completely honest, I want 3 fights for the rest of the year. I want to fight October, November, December. If I'm being completely honest with you, I want to go straight through this guy in 2 weeks, and I want to fight again the next month in the UFC, and then I want to fucking fight again the next month in the UFC. That would be an ideal world for me, because with the lightweight, I don't have to do as drastic a cut. You know, you can call me in a week, 2 weeks notice, and I'm there, I'm ready to fight. Because, Sean, I'm a fucking competitor. You know, you put me in a cage with any man around the same weight, I will be victorious, because competition is what I do and winning is what I do. You've never seen me take a back step ever in a fight. You've barely seen me lose rounds. And if you do, they're close. And that's just what it is.
Is there a reason why this isn't an interim title? Because obviously, look, you're the featherweight champion. You're going up to the lightweight champion, went to the contender series and came back. You just mentioned him there. It feels like you've had this discussion.
You tell me.
No,
you tell me. You tell me why the hell this wouldn't be an interim belt. It's not like Jan doesn't want this to be an interim belt. We both spoke privately, and it was something we were both pushing for. And we had to play hardball on it for whatever, like a week or so. And I mean, to me, it makes absolutely no sense why it wouldn't be for an interim belt. 5 rounds and a title fight in Dublin, for my homecoming. But look, this industry sometimes never fails to amaze me how some things are handled. That is a complete no-brainer to all parties involved. That's a complete no-brainer, and it doesn't cost anything. If anything, it adds so much to a fight like that. But yeah, is what it is.
Is the whole Cage Warriors situation and being the champion situation something a little bit frustrating to you? Because we know when you are a champion, it's not as easy maybe to take a fight elsewhere or to move to other places. Have you had a little bit of frustration with Cage Warriors, or is it just frustration with not being able to get the UFC shot, I suppose?
I could say it's a bit of both. I'd say it's a bit of both,
When I saw this, I immediately I was like, that's a very good fight, first of all. But then, like, as you just said, it doesn't make a whole pile of sense. If it was for the title, if it's for an interim title, absolutely. But in my next thought was like, this has to be 2 fights for Paul in Cage Warriors, because if you're taking this fight, you're going to be the obvious #1 contender, and you have to fight for the champion. But you've just said there, like, you want to fight this fight and then a fight in the UFC straight away. So you're taking this fight and going right back to the situation which you found yourself in for the last 11 months. Is there a thought of maybe if you can't get a quick UFC fight, I want a quick Cage Warriors fight? Or is it going to be, again, the UFC or nothing after that?
Well, look, see, to be honest, Sean, like, nothing would surprise me anymore. I could go out and put this guy away in the first and have be crowd surfing in the fucking crowd, the place going mental, everyone with their tops off, throwing beer, street parties, all this shit could happen. I could still not get signed, and I've learned that from my last fight. So it is what it is, nothing like that will be used to hurt me ever again, and for me to have that, I need to have no attachment to the outcome. So whatever happens here, my focus is directly on Jan Higgins in 2 weeks. I'm going to go straight fucking through him. But then we'll assess how things are going down, and yeah, I'll just take it from there whenever that happens. But of course, we want to go to the UFC. That's why I'm doing this, Cage Warriors is a amazing, fantastic vehicle to get there, and I'm very grateful for that. But I'm in this to be in the UFC, that's it.
Yeah, 100%. On Jan, I watched a few of his fights today, and he's a good fighter, like a good long jab. He's gotten taken down in a few fights, but he's always done well to survive there when he gets on top himself. He's a dangerous fighter. Finished Kieran Lister from on top as well. What's your, I suppose, overall assessment of him as a fighter if you were to break him down for everyone?
Honestly, Sean, this is the hardest fight on Cage Warriors for me. This guy is a harder fight than George Hardwick. This guy is on a 5-fight finish streak. The thing with Quay Higgins is, I think people are probably seeing the fight announcement, the poster and stuff, and some people who may not be in the know as much will be like, who's this guy? Oh, they must be just getting Paul, some guy, to fight in Dublin. That is not the fucking case here. That is not the case. This guy is coming to fucking kill me. This guy's a 6'1", big lightweight, 5 finish streak. He's coming in to take everything that I've earned here on Cage Warriors, and as he should. So my assessment of him is, this is going to be potentially the hardest fight of my career, and it's of course a huge risk, but at this point in my career, everything's a huge risk, when you're on that cusp of UFC, and when I go there, it's still going to be a huge risk every fight, because every fight's fucking everything to me. Every fight is treated the same. It's my entire life. It's my entire being. So yeah, it's a really tough matchup, Sean, and it's something that I'm taking unbelievably serious. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
obviously you've bigger guys, I suppose, in the gym with the former lightweight champion, the former welterweight champion as well around the place a lot of the time. It must be great to have lads like Joe and Reese in the gym with you to
Sorry,
prepare.
Sean, you cut off.
I was
Can you
just
hear me
saying.
there? You cut off for about maybe 5 seconds there.
Yeah, no worries. But I was just saying it must be great to have lads. I don't know if Joe is still in the gym all the time or not, but to have lads like Joe and Reese who are also kind of big, tall, good strikers like him to prepare for a guy like Ian.
Yeah. No, well, look, Sean. Like the matchup isn't actually too bad for me stylistically. As you mentioned, I train with a lot of these bigger guys. It's not like I've never trained with bigger guys before. I'm out here in Kilcliff. I'm training with bigger guys every day. I'm training with lightweights and welters every day, making sure I'm wrestling with them, sparring with them, just every single round. And it's nothing new to me, Sean. Like this whole oh, he's up a weight class. This is gonna be so different. Skills pay the fucking bills, and I hit hard as fuck. You ask anybody that I've trained with, I'm one of the hardest hitters pound for pound that you'll have trained with. And strength wise, I mean, I'm unmatched. I'm an absolute beast when it comes to that. And Jan, he was talking some shit. I actually thought his social media post was very funny, and it was good shit talk about the medicine ball, me struggling to carry it. But he'll see in 2 weeks, and it was actually, I'm really happy he done that, because it gave me just that little bit of competition that I can tap into it sometimes. So I know whenever I'm in that fight and I'm on top of him and I'm putting his face through the fucking canvas with my elbows, then we'll see who's strong.
You mentioned Kilcliff there, and obviously you've been there a few times now at this stage, obviously with the Ian Gary connection and everything like that. How good has that been? I suppose we've always talked for years about Irish MMA fighters broadening their horizons and going different places to train. Who are some of the people I suppose you've been training with out there, and how great has that been a move for you?
Oh, it's been great, bro. I've come out here a few times now. I spent some time. This one's a little bit shorter of a time. This is more just for the last peaking phase of camp. As I mentioned to you earlier, this fight only got really announced and done not too long ago, although I was planning to come here anyway. It's fantastic, Sean. It's just betterment. It's just every gym has a different vibe, and every gym has its own pros and its own cons. And Kilcliff is it's very much like Fight Academy at home, where it's got a really, really good team environment with really nice people, and it's just a joy to be there, where everyone truly wants to help each other. There's really not much egos on the mats, if at all, to be completely honest. Kilcliff, although it's seen as one of these super camp type gyms, it does not feel like that. It feels like a real team environment. Everybody must be there every day at 10 a.m. If you're not there, you fucking better text in your hip and tell them why you're not there. There's no oh, Kamaru's who's in the gym earlier, he goes off and does his own training. Michael Chandler, he does his own training. Oh, Gilbert Burns, whatever. That's not the case. We all train at the same time, and I'm very fortunate to get to work in with all these high level guys. So it's amazing to just to get the different looks, and to keep honing my skills, and to just take the pros and cons from everywhere, and just use them to my advantage. Yeah, it's been a great investment of my time and resources to come out here, and yeah, it's been great.
I appreciate the time, Paul. Last couple of things for me. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about Reese McKee when he went to the UFC, and he was one of the only guys to ever headline in Ireland and then go to the UFC. Obviously, Conor did it afterwards, and other people have done it as well, and maybe Ian will do it, hopefully, coming up here in a couple of months' time. But for you, as an Irishman, a proud Irishman, to headline a big card in Ireland, another a new venue, I suppose, again in the RDS, how proud, just on that part, does that make you feel in front of the Irish fans who are talked about as the best fans in the world, as an Irishman to headline there?
Yeah, bro. I think, to be honest, I haven't, because things have moved so fast the last week since the fights got done, or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I haven't thought too much into this, Sean. But I think whenever I get home and we get down in and around the venue, and I just get back to the fresh air in Ireland, and just kind of, I know there'll be a point where I'll start to go, this is something special. To be able to do something like this it's an unbelievable opportunity. And I think whenever I get down there, and I get to do my walkout, I've got the flag. I think that's when it'll be like, it'll really hit home with me, you know. And I think it'll be something really nice about just after the pre the event and after the event being close to home and be able to share that experience with a lot more people rather than being away in London where all the fights have been. I think that's going to be special, and yeah, it's good. I'm not choking up, but
the emotion is coming out now.
I've been talking for too long. That's what it is.
last thing for me, Paul. I suppose it's been a fantastic time for Irish MMA. You know, results can go up and down, but what I love about Irish MMA recently is, and you kind of personified for me, that whether it's Ian or whether it's someone like Kiefer or other people, you know, you wish him well. And there used to be like maybe a gym divide before, but I feel like that doesn't exist as much as it once used to. How proud are you to be part of maybe the next school of Irish MMA athletes that are coming through? And, you know, a lot of them have come through over the last while, you know, including yourself winning the featherweight championship and obviously everything that'll happen in the future. But to be part of that and to, you know, be pushing each other, yourself and Ian, I've always been pushing each other over the last few years to talk about who's the better prospect and all of that. So I know obviously tongue in cheek, but it must be great for you to be not just part of that, but one of the leaders of that.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels special. It feels different for sure. I think just with how the results have went recently, I think that's setting us up for an even bigger victory. You know, whenever it comes to Dublin, the bounce back, you know, the fighting Irish, you know, we're never fucking out of the fight. I think that this is setting up the storyline to be even more special. And I think with the everyone supporting each other, to be honest, I think it's kind of essential. We're not a big island, you know. We're competing against whatever country we're competing against. I think it is important for us to come together and support each other. You know, that whole old school, he trains at this gym, da 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 da. I don't like that shit, you know, and I think that's more of a old school thing, to be completely honest, because I see these, if there's someone Irish in the card, like I feel like they're my teammate almost, you know. I want them to win, you know, and if there's anything that I could do, if anyone from the Ireland or the island of Ireland wanted to come train at our gym, I would be more than happy to bring them in for any period of time and give them all of my fucking time. And I'm sure, and this is the beauty of Fight Academy and Pat McAllister and Liam Shannon, they'd be willing to do the exact same as well. Whether or not you represented the gym or not, they'd be more than happy for you to come and train anytime at all. And I think that's a very important thing, and it's a credit to the likes of Liam and Shando and to the guys like Chris Fields from other gyms who'd be more than willing, I'm sure, to do the same, because I think we need to do it. I think we need to.
100%. Paul, thank you so much for your time. I'm delighted to see you back. It's been a long 11 months for all the people who want to see you fight, as well as I'm sure it's been a long time for you. Cage Warriors 161, the 14th of October. You'll be in the headline bout, and I can't wait to see it. Paul, thanks very much for your time.
I appreciate it, Sean. Thank you so much.